Welcome to a standing awareness sequence. So I want you to start standing in a very comfortable position. The toes are spread, your legs are nicely positioned underneath the front of your hip bones. Feel where your pelvis is, feel where your rib cage is, and then feel this two-way stretch and lengthening where you feel the feet sinking into the floor, and you feel the floor creating that upward feeling of lengthening sensation. The other thought that I want you to think about whilst we're standing is that you're suspended here from your ear-jaw junction. So if we took a rod and we put it through here at this ear-jaw junction and it went straight through, that is the junction of your C1 vertical vertebra bones in your cervical spine. That's at that C1 junction. So if we can have that feeling of upward lengthening and suspension from this point in our heads, like we're hanging with a nice, really large elastic band from the ceiling, that already creates less tension and pressure between the individual vertebra bones, all right? So we're giving a little bit of release and peace to those intervertebral discs, and we're also encouraging more space between the ribs and your pelvis, more space for the organs too, because if we're slunged, we're squishing the organs. But if we feel that beautiful axial elongation in the body, we have a lot more lightness and space to move, and that already is going to do wonders for your awareness with regards to posture. So, imagining that there is a wall behind you, sometimes it feels a little strange to try and get your body into the right standing posture. The simplest way that helps me best is if I were to imagine that wall behind me. So I have the back of my head, the back of my rib cage, and the back of my sacrum, the pelvis area. So if I turn sideways, I've got my back of head, the back of your rib cage, and sometimes it's nice to give a little feel free to do it with me, and the back of the pelvis. So those three bony landmarks we try and have aligned against our imaginary wall. And as we begin to just tap into our breathing, also feel whether it feels better for you to close your eyes or to open your eyes. So choose closed eyes or open eyes, and just gently start to transfer the weight forwards and backwards between the toes, the balls, the soles of the feet, the heels, and just lean forwards and backwards. And it's as though this big, giant hand is sitting on top of your head as we lean forwards and lean backwards, just resetting that beautiful, comfortable standing home position, and stop. If you were to shift it side to side, all that we're doing is gently easing and gliding the weight between the feet and then allowing that to travel all the way up through the legs, up through the pelvis, up through the sides of the waist, the ribs, the neck, and out through the top of your head, and bring it back to the center. So now we have a better understanding of where our body is in space and what serves our body best as we stand to find this comfortable, easygoing standing with beautiful postural awareness, yet nothing is tensed and forced. Take your hands around your rib cage and literally feel the ribs. We underestimate the power and the utility of breathing and how it affects and assists with everything in our bodies. So feel where your rib crest lies, and then your diaphragm is underneath that. So if you were to place your hands comfortably around your rib cage, maybe you want to roll around a bit. Take a moment to inhale and exhale. And we go again, breathing in and breathing out. And our aim is to encourage breathing in all directions. You may feel a little lightheaded during the breathing series, and let it settle a bit. So if you need to sit down, just sit down. But we're aiming to get as much space and utility from this beautiful rib cage and the space between the rib cage and the pelvis. Now put your one hand on the belly and inhale. And notice whether you can actually breathe your belly into your hand. Now if you put one hand on the ribs and one hand on the belly and you breathe in, try and identify which area you can breathe more in, which area moves your hands more. And whichever region, like for example, from how I'm feeling right now, it's this side of my ribs that aren't moving as much as what my belly is moving. On the next practice breath in, I'm going to allow a little bit more movement to happen here. And change over. And this side is so much better than that side. So why I'm sharing that one side is different in my own body is that maybe and possibly you feel that one side has more breathing capability than the other. And all we're going to focus on is just tuning into the breathing, tuning into the movement of your rib cage, tuning into the movement of your belly, the lower belly, the side waist, and then also in the space here between your lower back and your hand. Because the muscles and the fascial tissues that are involved in breathing, they reach all the way down to the lower back. There is this amazing band called the thoracolumbar fascia that responds in accordance with our breathing capability. So just focusing again on proper breathing within our own bodies, where does the breath come from and where does it go, is a very useful tool to become aware. It's creating what we call an interoception, an inner experience of noticing these feelings that result in an external, not result as such, but an external experience within the body. So we're focusing on something that's happening internally, and by doing that, the result and the outcome is something on the outside of our bodies, and that is a really good way of connecting mind to body to breath work. So if we translate that and continue the breath into movement, make sure that your knees are nicely relaxed, and just bring your fingertips on top of your shoulders. Allow your elbows to gently circle. So you're standing in your comfortable standing posture. Maybe your knees want to be a little bit bent. Maybe your knees and legs want to be straighter. For me today, it feels better if I keep my knees straight. It can change tomorrow. So where we want to meet ourselves is where we are at any given moment in the day or week. Reverse those elbow circles and smoothly. It's as though your elbows are exploring the available space around the shoulder and upper body area. Take a breath in and let your head and chin just drop down. Floating your head and chin back up. Feeling that imaginary wall with the back of your head nestled into your wall. Bend the knees a little and start gliding those elbows up to the ceiling. Lift the mouth a little, and you'll feel your heart light has shined up a little higher. As you breathe out, just let your head relax and let the elbows come slightly more behind you. So we're inhaling to swing slow, and exhaling as you swing low. I like that. Swing slow, swing, and low. Swing slow and swing low. We're going to have to add that into our daily motivations. Swing slow, 2, 3, and swing low. And let's go a little faster. Yep, up, yep, up, yep, up, and down. 3, on the last one, reach as though you're reaching up to the ceiling to do a deep yawn. See if your fingers can touch each other. See if you can reach and feel a little bit of a stretch. It's like a yawning sensation in the bodies, my friends. And that beautiful, elongated, deep, yawny, stretchy feeling is something that I really want you to feel in your body.